Hello everyone, this is an August 2019 budget Lightsworn deck profile. So this is quickly turning into one of my favorite decks because for one thing it's very cool, but also milling and having so much activity in the graveyard is pretty much like having an additional hand, just way more resources than what you would normally have. So whether it's monster effects or spells, you are just sending from deck to graveyard a lot, and a lot of special summoning. You can go into extra deck plays, you can go into this Judgement Dragon here. I do have some new budget link monsters too, and at the end of the video I will be showing some more budget link monsters that did not quite make the cut but that you could include in this deck. And this is a 44 card main deck and it costs around 50 bucks. So for the price, it's super effective. So let's begin. We start off with triple Judgement Dragon. So this card is a pretty easy special summon if you just have a bunch of Lightsworns in your graveyard. Its effect to blow up the board is not a once per turn. So if you blow up the board at the cost of 1,000 life points and your opponent has some floater effects, you can actually do it again and maybe get rid of the problem. So just one of the win conditions of this deck here, and a big beater. So 3 Raidens. This card is the one that you want to see in your opening hand because like all the other Lightsworns, or most of them, it does mill at the end phase, but this one also mills during the main phase, so you can actually start your play without having to end your turn. Also your level 4 tuner here too. So we got triple Lumina. Lumina is a way to revive your Lightsworn, so more materials, more milling, or with Raiden you can actually do both because Raiden mills during the main phase and then use it as material. But Lumina also has good cost too. I mean, you're discarding a card, so Glow Up Bulb, Destrudo, Jet Synchron, all cards you can see in your graveyard beneficially. 3 Lailas. This is your back row removal, also mills too, so Felis pops monsters, this card pops back row. So just one of those standard Yu-Gi-Oh effects that found its way into the Lightsworn archetype too. So 3 Gareth. This card is kind of how you're starting all your crazy, really long, extended plays. I mean, many effects that can trigger simultaneously, as well as effects that stack. I mean, effects that occur when the previous chain has resolved. So it mills additional cards when your Lightsworn mills. So maybe if you have a Minerva on the field, usually you can get a bunch of milling off of Minerva, off of this card, and then draws off of this card. So you load up your hand, you load up your graveyard, you special a ton. It's just a really good card. Just you are usually dedicating your normal summon to this card. So kind of hard to get on the field with another Lightsworn. So triple Felis. So this card, a little annoying because you do have to mill it off of a monster effect, but if you do mill it with that monster effect like a Raiden or something, you special summon it. It's got a tribute effect too. You tribute itself, pop a monster your opponent controls, so useful spot removal, and then just your mill 3. And it's also a level 4 tuner, so just a really good card right here. So 3 Wolves for our last Lightsworns. This is just a beater and a level 4, but very easy special summon with all the milling that's going on, and helps you go into your Minerva. So my mini performance engine here, double damage juggler, double trick clown, and double hat tricker. So damage juggler searches any of them, particularly hat tricker. That's the one that you want to see in your hand. So damage juggler is also a hand trap, semi-limited too. So damage juggler negates effect and battle damage. Trick clown is the one you want to see milled because you can special it from the grave, or you can special any of them from the grave. Just another level 4, helps you go into your Minerva again. And then hat tricker again helps you go into Minerva because your opponent can control those monsters too. If it's 2 more monsters on the field, you can special summon this card. So that's the performance engine. So triple Diana the Light Spirit. This card is like Gigantes or Aqua Spirit or Fenrir, all those OG cards. You just banish a light monster to special summon it. Again, helps with your rank 4s. So some one-ofs, we got a Glow Up Bulb, which is your level 1 tuner. Another level 1 tuner, we got Jet Synchron. So both cards you want to see, again, like a lot of this deck, you want to see in your graveyard. But this one mills to get its effect, so additional milling with this card. This one you discard to get its effect, so see, putting those cards in the graveyard. Another level 1 monster, we have a Dotscaper. So this one helps you go into specific synchros, whether they're level 5 or 6. To make the 1 level 6 synchro that I run, you pretty much need Dotscaper, so I put it in here. You could take it out, but it is an Earth monster too, so with the right combination you can go into Curious with Earth monsters. And we got a 1,000 Blades, which goes great with the Trick Clown, because you take damage from Trick Clown, you special summon this card. Pretty much only need one of this card because you can pretty much use it and special summon it every turn. So 1 Destrudo. So this card is pretty much always going to be a level 7 tuner and helps you go into either Michael or Don Draxter. Those are the ones that I run. So it is, you're paying a lot of life points, but very, very easy special summon because you can always pay half your life points. And the last card that I run is this Envoy of the Beginning. This is not a budget card. This is like $8 or $9 for the copy, but you could actually take it out because Destrudo is the only main deck monster that I do run that is dark. There are some extra deck monsters that you can banish, but you could take it out and the deck would function just fine. It is just some additional support as a beater, and it can attack twice. It can banish, as removal. So good card, just optional, I think. So some spells, not too many spells. Triple charge of the Light Brigade. This is superior to Solar Recharge because it mills as cost. So if it gets ashed, you're still milling even though you don't search, but usually I search Raiden if I don't have it in my opening hand. And then triple Solar Recharge. So this card, discard 1 Lightsworn, draw 2, then mill 2. So just really good support cards right here that you want to see in your opening hand, and just helps you get the deck moving and also get those cards in the graveyard. And then double Instant Fusion to help you go into your rank 4s, and maybe one specific link that I do run that can help with being summoned using a fusion monster. And only 2 Instant Fusion actually, because I found myself milling Instant Fusion a lot, so I dropped it to 2. So extra deck, 1 Curious. This card is boss. You send 1 from deck to grave upon link summon, so sending Felis or Wolf usually, but it could be anything. So when that does happen, let's say you send Felis, then Felis and this card's second effect will trigger at the same time. This card's second effect, when you do use it, is going to be milling an additional 3. So just tons of milling right here. Also recurs to your hand. Just really good card that the Lightsworns can make pretty easily because there are so many different types going on. So 1 Hip Potion again for your generic light support. I go into this sometimes. I thought it's worth putting in here. 1 Lumina. This is a new card. I just thought it's kind of a synchro driven deck, so I thought level manipulation was worth it. And you can actually change your monster to a level 4 if your opponent controls a level 4 too, and then pop both of them, so it can be useful. 1 Link Mail Archfiend, which is another new one here. So got a lot of effects, but it requires, you can make this card with using the Instant Fusion monster, so kind of sometimes easy play right there. Very, very unique arrows actually, but it's a beater. Protects all your extra deck monsters from targeting, so just good actually protection right there right off the bat. And for being a budget card right here, like 50 cents, it really isn't too bad for a Link 4, like a budget decent Link 4. Has a failsafe. If it be destroyed, you can banish an extra deck monster from the graveyard instead, and also lowers your opponent's monster's attack. So it's just 3 decent effects with decent arrows too. And then 1 more Link monster. We do have a Double Bite Dragon. This is another new one. I thought I'd put this in here as kind of an alternate, if you really stretch your imagination, it's an alternate win condition, because if your opponent doesn't have Link monsters on the field, it's hard to get around this card. It can have a lot of attack if you use maybe a combined Link 6 rating to make this card. So I just thought I'd put it in here. But there are some more links coming up at the end of the video that you could include. So XYZ's Minerva. This is it's kind of an expensive card, so only 1 of them. You probably could run 2, but a lot of times you are just summoning Minerva on the first turn via the normal and 1 special, or maybe 2 specials to get this card. So it's your easy mill 3, and then it does have a backup plan too, a failsafe. You can mill 3 when this card is destroyed somehow, battle card effect, and for every Lightsworn that you mill, you pop cards on the field. So 1 card in the field. So sometimes you can get lucky with your mills and mill like 3 Lightsworns. So really good card right here, and just ending your turn with a Minerva is not too bad of a play. So 1 Dweller. If you're going for another rank 4 here, this is the obvious one that can really, sometimes you're ending the board with a Link Mail Archfiend, a Dweller, a Minerva, and 1 other, and like a Synchro too. So that's not too bad of a board actually at all for such a budget deck. Making that kind of a board is pretty cool in my opinion. And then Time Thief Redoer is the last rank 4 here. So I'm pretty much using this card as a beater, but also to draw, because during the standby, if your opponent is using a spell heavy deck, you can draw 1 card as a quick effect. So pretty much every turn, if your opponent is playing a spell heavy deck, you can draw additionally. So we got Mud Dragon of the Swamp for our only fusion. This is a level 4 for your Minerva, as well as a light monster if you use its effect for your Curious. And synchros, a TG Hyper Librarian. This could be a lot of generic level 5 synchros. I thought I'd include this one because there are a good amount of synchros in this extra deck. And sometimes because this deck can spam out monsters so well, you can actually get this card on the field and then 2 more synchros and then draw 2 off of this card. So 1 Stardust Charge Warrior. So like I said, you do need Dotscaper to make this card, but pretty much. But it does help with the draw power again, and it does attack pretty much all your opponent's monsters usually. Special summon monsters they control, but you're just drawing 1 card upon synchro summon, so just draw power cards right here. 2 level 7s, Dawn Draxter as well as Michael. So this is just your typical Lightsworn, milling 3 at the end phase. It's also a very strong form of removal that is not destruction. This one is just a really strong card, F.A. Dawn Draxter. Really good generic level 7 synchro that can go in any deck that runs level 7 synchros because it's a negate. How can you not want a negate on board of spells and traps? And then 2 level 8s for the last 2 cards in the extra deck, a Stardust as well as a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. So this card, I mean, it was just reprinted as well as being just a really strong generic level 8 synchro. There may be some decks that, I mean, I'm thinking Yang Zing may not want to run this card because you don't want to negate the destruction. Sometimes you want them to be destroyed, the cards on the field, but still, that's just one note right there. But Stardust Dragon is just a really solid card to protect your board. This one you probably don't want to have on the field with other monsters. If you can make 1 play, you want to go into this, but you don't generally want to have this with other extra deck monsters because you're blowing them up anyway. And that's pretty much the extra deck. And then some more budget links that you could include. Most of them are new. The first one is not new. So these did not make the cut, but Arcana Extra Joker. I was running Malicious, so you could run this card. And it just helps you negate spells and monsters. No traps in this deck, so no traps to discard, but still decent card with a high attack. 1 Security Dragon. Hard to co-link in this build the way I have it here, but it can be good to bounce cards, bounce monsters. So 1 Amblo Whale. This card is kind of lackluster, but honestly I would go with the Link Mail Archfiend for your Link 4, but effectively or functionally the same arrows as Borload. So good arrows, and you know, it's got a graveyard effect, a banish effect. You know, could be good, I guess. And the last one is a Junk Connector, which actually could work in this deck because you got the Jet Synchron as well as a bunch of Warriors, and those cards could be tuners too. So it just lets you synchro summon during your opponent's turn. And that is pretty much the budget Lightsworn deck profile for August 2019. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.